Hello, everyone. This is Heidi Case, the chair of the Multimodal Accessibility Advisory Committee. It is 5:30, but there are several council members not here yet. Let's see, there's Buddy, he's usually here. Phil or Rob, had you spoken to Buddy recently?
Phil, no, I have not. I had emailed him about a week ago, asked him if he would second a motion I make or plan on making, and he said yes, and that assumed that he would be here.
Right. Well, let's start the roll call. And really, we usually just go around and have everyone introduce themselves. And we will get started with that. Hopefully other people will be joining us while we start. I'm going to start with our vice chair of the MAAC. You go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Phillips Glover, I'm the MAAC's vice chair.
Do you want to share anything else about yourself?
I guess that basically I am an attorney. My specialty area is employment workplace law with a specialty area in workplace discrimination law, which I've been doing for half a century. And I guess that's about it. And I enjoy my tenure on the MAAC. I think that we are focusing on appropriate issues of accommodation in transportation and use of public spaces.
Thank you very much. Our other MAAC council member that is on this evening, Rob, would you like to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, of course. Thank you, Madam Chair. I joined the MAAC in 2017. I was one of the original council members, and it's been an adventure ever since then, advocating for vision zero. That vision zero is my biggest priority in the council, and I still have hope that we can accomplish that by 2024, zero traffic by 2024 with DDOT's help. Thank you.
Chair Case, I believe you're muted again.
Sorry, I did that to miss the feedback. Rob Dooling's other claim to fame is you are also an ANC chair in Ward 6.
Commissioner, not chair, but thank you.
Commissioner, sorry about that.
That's fine, that's fine.
All right, great. Otherwise, I'm going to go on around. Zachary, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. Zach Smith, Equity and Accessibility Program Analyst at DDOT.
Thank you. Susie? Susie, could you unmute and introduce yourself?
Good afternoon, everyone. Susie McFadden Resper. I am the ADA Compliance Specialist for Public Works in the DC Office of Disability Rights.
I'm just going around, so next on my screen is you, Nana.
Good afternoon, Chairperson Case. My name is Nana Bailey Thomas, and I am the Chief Transportation Equity and Inclusion Officer.
Okay, and of course, we're going to save our distinguished guest for last, but how about next, Caesar?
Good evening, everybody. Cesar Barreto, ADA coordinator with DDOT.
Great. The next person I see is Sharada Strasmore. Is that correct? I apologize.
That's okay. It's Sharda. I have a silent second A.
Got it.
Sharda here. I'm the shared micromobility planner at DDOT.
Awesome. I'm glad you're here. Heather?
Hi, I'm Heather Foote. I'm a policy analyst on older adult transportation issues, including access to information as an equity issue. And along with Jim Elliott, I co-chair the DC Pedestrian Advisory Council, the cousin to the MAAC.
Okay, thank you very much for being here. And Charlie?
Hi, everyone. My name is Charlie Wilson. I work on the Vision Zero team at DDOT. Thanks for having me.
All right, thank you. And of course, our most distinguished guest, Acting Director Lott.
Hello, everyone. This is Everett Lott. I am thrilled to be a part of this conversation today and look forward to engaging with everyone. Thanks for having me.
Great. Our first order of business is to approval of the meeting minutes from last month that Shana has sent out. Do I hear a motion for their approval?
I move to approve.
Thank you, Rob. Do I hear a second?
Phil Schlover, yes, I second.
All right, hearing a second, is there any discussion about the meeting minutes from last month's meeting or changes? Hearing none. All those that approve the meeting minutes as is, signify by saying aye.
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 Great. Then the meeting minutes are approved. We had old business with our MAAC budget, but the treasurer is not yet here or isn't here. So we're going to move on to our next item on the agenda. Mr. Wilson is going to give us an update on Vision Zero.
Hi, everyone. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Great. Well, thanks again for having me. The items that Dak and Caesar had asked me to update you on were the Vision Zero working group meetings. That's the term I use for the interagency meetings that we have on Vision Zero, where I believe every other one of them, we invite the advisory councils to join the meetings. The last one of those that we had with the advisory councils was in May. And in the interim time, the gentleman who organizes those out of Des Moines, the deputy mayor's office, that gentleman went on paternity leave, and then he got promoted to the chief of staff for the deputy mayor. And so now we have, I believe, a replacement. The person I'm talking about is Jonathan Rogers, so he's still with the deputy mayor, but in a new role. And then there's a new person replacing Jonathan, backfilling, I guess, Jonathan's old role at the deputy mayor for operations and infrastructure. And that gentleman's name is Alan Propp, P-R-O-P-P. I haven't had the pleasure yet, but I look forward to working with him. So he will be coordinating the next meeting of the Vision Zero working group that will include the advisory councils. And you should expect to get an email to him from him in this month for a meeting, hopefully in November, would be my assumption. So I don't know who previously was getting the invitations, the online invitations. Okay, in that case, I'll confirm with Mr. Propp that he continues to include you, and then if there's anyone else, I'm happy to add them or advise him to add that person.
Our assistant our Shana McCready. Shana, do you happen to get Charlie's email included in this?
No, I don't receive any updates on Vision Zero. So I will drop our administrative email address in the chat. If you can just use that, it'd be the best way to reach the full council.
Perfect. Thank you, Shana. So yeah, adding Shana on there as well as me, Mr. Wilson would be ideal. And
Will do.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was just going to say, I can do that.
Great. I understood, I think from, maybe I misunderstood, that there was a meeting that took place last month, possibly, whether in September or August. Was that, it just didn't happen at all, or a truncated version happened, or can you update me with that information?
We had what we're calling the core group, the small group of agencies that work on Vision Zero. So MPD, DMV, the for-hire vehicles, and DDOT, along with the deputy mayor. So we have those. It's sort of a alternating setup, so that we have some that are the agencies and some that are agencies plus the advisory councils. But we haven't had any. We certainly haven't had any where the advisory councils were included and MAAC was not. That certainly didn't happen and wouldn't happen.
Awesome. Okay. And the last thing I thought you would update us about, I understand that there is an audit of Vision Zero has been undertaken. Can you provide us any information about that?
Sure. So that audit is originating out of the Office of the District of Columbia Auditor. So they reached out to Director Lott last month and described the parameters of the audit in the big picture sense. The preliminary objective, according to their letter, is to determine whether DDOT implemented the Vision Zero initiative and traffic safety investments throughout the district, and if implementation has been equitable.
Got it.
So that's what they're auditing, and they've made a document request that we've completed for them, and then at this point, we're going to do interviews as well. So it sounds like, according to the letter, it says the audit will include interviews with staff members and other stakeholders, and a review and analysis of applicable laws, rules and regulations, policies and procedures, budget and expenditure reports, and program data and reports.
Thank you, Mr. Wilson. In the meantime, we have had two other people join us. One is a MAAC council member. We've already gone around, Buddy, and kind of introduced ourselves, but I want to give you that opportunity now.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Buddy Moore, member of the MAAC. Okay, and we've shared a little bit about some of the other issues that we work on or a part of.
Well, I am the outreach coordinator for the Bernice Fontenot Senior Wellness Center in Ward 1. And of course, I have a disability, both visual and hearing. So my primary focus now is on seniors who are having difficulty with both vision and hearing.
Thank you, Buddy. I'm really glad you are a part of the MAAC.
Thanks.
And Claudia, would you like to unmute yourself and introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Claudia, and I just saw the council, like the meeting was happening today, so I'm just here to listen in.
Claudia, are you a person with a disability? Are you joining us as a person with a disability?
No, but I'm very interested in making sure there's better policies around this.
Okay, thank you for joining us, Claudia. I'm grateful.
Thanks.
I just wanted to did anyone of the council members have any questions for Charlie? He was just giving us the update on Vision Zero and to ensuring that I wanted to ensure that we would be continuing to be a part of those discussions, the MAAC. Any other council members have thoughts or comments? All right, we thank you very much. I've been kind of informal. I hope you don't mind, Charlie, but we appreciate your information and you coming and joining us this evening.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you. I always enjoy joining these meetings and learning more about the perspectives of your group. So thank you.
Okay. Well, we are going to move on to new business, and of course, that involves the. We've been really grateful that the acting director of DDOT had found time in his busy schedule to come and join us. I was fortunate to have a one-on-one phone conversation with him earlier this week, or actually I think might have been the end of last week, just discussing some of the Vision Zero issues. So look forward to what he has to share, and then we'll open it up for questions and comments.
Good evening, Chairperson Chase and members of the MAAC. It was actually, I think it was on Monday on the holiday.
Oh, yes. Okay.
And I hadn't even looked ahead at the calendar to realize that we had this meeting on the books already. So it's kind of fortuitous that we're have this opportunity to have a second meeting in the same week. So I'm really glad and happy for the opportunity. So I really do want to thank you, and again, thank you for the time. I'm extremely happy to be here with you this evening, and would like to thank you as well as the MAAC members for this meeting. And I'm definitely happy to continue our discussions regarding the MAAC's accessibility concerns within the district's multimodal transportation network. Along with the DDOT's, with our mission, we're also taking strides to ensure that safety and enhancing the district's transportation network by eliminating the trip hazards in the sidewalks, which I believe was one of the things that we had talked about a little bit on Monday. Also upgrading intersections with our audible pedestrian signal devices, increasing spaces for pedestrians and cyclists, and reducing the speed limits on local roads, which is something that I had originally brought up to your attention when we were talking on Monday. And then lastly, also increasing the micromobility corrals and accessible parking spaces on the street. So overall, these efforts have allowed us at DDOT to examine our policies, examine our standards, our regulations to ensure a safer and a more enjoyable experience for our residents and for our visitors. And as the acting director, I'll welcome the comments from the advisory councils, which include the MAAC, the Pedestrian Advisory Council, and also the Bicycle Advisory Council, to better understand the concerns of residents and to guide the department's approach to alleviate the concerns. And so, part of the reason I had called when I had reached out was on Monday was like, again, with all the different things that are happening in the district, a lot of pedestrians being struck and killed, fatalities, I was like, I want to make sure that I'm engaged. I have these advisory councils, and I want to reach out to make sure that I'm getting information, having these conversations, and being engaged with the different councils so that y'all can help me and help the rest of the agency in better, trying to figure out ways to improve safety for everyone across the district. And so, again, I think it's very fortuitous that we were able to talk on Monday and again, for a second time on today, this evening. Effective October 1, just last week, our dockless scooters are now required to lock to infrastructure when parked in the district. The new lock to legislation, it requires the riders of the dockless scooters to park and use the equipped lock to tether the vehicle to bike racks, or to in-street bicycle and scooter corrals, to parking sign posts, or to stop signs. The scooter companies will also have to review mandatory photos of where the riders park within 24 hours after the trip ends to ensure compliance with the Lock 2 legislation, or to offer the use of a corrective action. By requiring the scooters to be locked to the infrastructure, making more of that infrastructure available, we at DDOT, we're keeping our sidewalks and our public places open and free from obstruction for pedestrians to enjoy. And, we at DDOT will continue to work with the permitted scooter companies to ensure compliance with this new regulation. It's safety for all. And again, it allows us all to be able to walk, bike, scoot, move around safely without any obstructions on the sidewalk and without any impediments. And so that's very important to me, very important to the members of DDOT that are on this team, and I know very important to this particular advisory council. In addition, we at DDOT, we also installed over 800 bicycle racks during FY21, and we're planning to install at least 1,000 additional bicycle racks on our sidewalks and in our street parking corrals during FY22 to facilitate compliance with legislation. We know that this will improve accessibility, but it also will create a better sidewalk experience for pedestrians. So I think that's extremely important. Also, we're committed to continue the implementation of the audible pedestrian signals in our ADA transition plan by removing the physical barriers in the public right-of-way. One barrier identified by the MAAC has been the need for more APS or audible pedestrian signals devices and advancing the timing for pedestrians to cross the intersections. By installing these devices and installing lead pedestrian indicators in the intersections, pedestrians of all abilities are given a better experience when crossing and more time when crossing and proper guidance to identify where to cross. So our traffic engineering and our safety division, they've placed approximately 67 audible pedestrian signal, devices during fiscal year 21, and about 237 leading pedestrian intervals. And we're really excited about that, and we need to do more, and we will do more. But in addition, also in our capital improvement projects now, it includes the modification of our traffic signals to install the APS devices at these intersections. And so again, we're extremely excited about that work. We know we have a lot more work to do, and we will continue to make strides and improve in that area. But I really wanted to be able to highlight some of those things that we have done and kind of where we're moving in the future. I believe a key discussion topic by the MAAC in connection with the installation of our protected bike lanes has been the management of the curbside to allow persons with disabilities. And I actually, Commissioner Case, you actually referenced this to me on our call on Monday. But it, again, allow persons with disabilities to be picked up and dropped off by Metro Access or rideshare companies. And the MAAC has voiced concerns, and I heard those concerns in our call, that the streets converted into the protected bike lanes are taking away the direct access to the sidewalk as part of the pickup and as part of the drop-off process, which causes persons with disabilities to load and unload the vehicle in the middle of the street. And that's not safe, and that's not what we want to have happen. The bicycle team is also working with the Equity and Inclusion Division, and the Curbside Management Division to include accessible parking spaces and accessible PUDOs in locations impacted by the installation of these protected bike lanes. Some examples of the accessible parking spaces and the accessible PUDOs can be found at K Street Northeast, at 17th Street Northwest, and also in the Navy Yard in the stadium area. The bicycle team, is continuing, they're engaging the community at the ANC meetings and other events to ensure that the needs of the corridor of the community are being met. And then also, we have the adaptive bike pilot program. And I know the MAAC has expressed interest in including the adaptive bicycles in the capital bike share program. And I think this is a phenomenal idea, and it's something that I'm very supportive of. And we, at DDOT, we issued a $250,000 NOFA, Notice of Funding Availability, for a nonprofit to design and manage a program that provides short-term loans of adaptive bikes to the district residents. The applications, they're being reviewed, and the pilot program will be launched in the Bike Center in the Union Station after a nonprofit operator has been selected. The grant proposals were due on Friday, on October the 8th, and again, they're currently under review. So in closing, we at DDOT, we continue to work hard to improve our infrastructure and to make sure that we are providing safe, accessible, and reliable roadways for all users. We at DDOT, we're committed to advancing equity for all historically under-resourced groups. And we have implemented our new equity assessment tool to ensure equity is considered in all of what DDOT does in all of our projects. So again, I want to thank you for having me tonight. And at this time, I'd like to address any questions from members of the MAAC.
Okay, absolutely. I see your hand up first, Rob, so go right ahead. I will go to council people first.
Okay.
He covered a lot, but if you have comments or questions, I encourage you to use this opportunity to share thoughts. Yeah, go right ahead, Rob.
I'll be next.
Yes, buddy.
Oh, no, go ahead. I'll be next.
I know, but yes, buddy, you will be next.
Okay.
Go ahead, sir, Mr. Rob.
Director, thank you for joining us tonight. I wanted to ask if DDOT still plans to achieve 0 traffic deaths by 2024, and if so, how?
That's definitely extremely important to all of the team of us at DDOT. It's extremely important to the mayor. We're doing everything that we can. One of the things, we actually had a press conference with the mayor yesterday. You know, what we've noticed and what we've observed, and this is not just here in the district, it's all over the country, that, you know, even though there have been fewer drivers on the road, those folks that are driving faster, they're driving more aggressively, they're distracted. So we're doing everything that we can to put measures in place, both in infrastructure, engineering, to make sure that we can, you know, make people slow down, make people observe the rules of the road, and, you know, and then if they're not, to hold them accountable. You know, it's unfortunate that we've had, you know, I think 30 or 31 fatalities here in DC to date. That's unacceptable. It hurts me. It pains me. I've met with the some of the family members, and it's horrible. And so we're going to do everything we can in terms of engineering. We're going to do everything we can in terms of making it extremely uncomfortable for folks to really drive in the district. And hopefully that will, you know, encourage them to maybe leave their cars at home, get on the bus. We're making bus priority is one of our big initiatives. We have definitely good rail service here, but we also, for those who want to bike, we have bikes. For those who want to scoot, we have scooters. For those who want to walk, we have they can walk. We're trying to make it, you know, we have our trails and our network that's available. So we're trying to make every mean of transportation mode available, but really trying to get people out of their cars. And, you know, if we can get more people out of the cars and off the roads, we know it's going to make people safer. But until that does happen, we're going to do everything that we can in terms of, you know, things within our ability to engineer and put speed humps, stop signs, so the cars are slowing down. I mean, really hold folks accountable when they're not obeying the rules of the road.
Okay, Buddy, did you want to make a comment or ask a question? I think you have to unmute, Buddy.
Thanks, Director, for visiting us. We're honored to have you as part of our meeting today. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'd like to thank Cesar Barreto for playing a part in having an audio pedestrian device installed at the intersection of Wisconsin and Albemarle Streets Northwest. I moved to this neighborhood in Ward 3 about 3 years ago. And up until that time, crossing Wisconsin Avenue for a person such as I am, with a vision and a hearing difficulty, crossing Wisconsin Avenue was sort of difficult for me. I didn't know when the cars making the left turn from Albemarle onto Wisconsin going north would be close to me because my peripheral vision was very poor. But now that leading pedestrian interval signal gives me more time to cross prior to automobiles making a left turn from Albemarle to Wisconsin Avenue. So thank you for that. And also, I haven't had an opportunity to test the timing or the amount of time that's allowed to cross the street, whether there's been additional time for pedestrians to cross Wisconsin, but I'll keep an eye on that to see if persons who have disabilities need a little more time in crossing Wisconsin Avenue. But again, thank you and Cesar Barreto for the new device at Wisconsin and Albemarle.
Thank you,
Mr.
Bud.
Moore, I want to thank you for acknowledging the great work that Cesar does. He's a great team member, has done a fantastic job. I know that area. I eat at the Chick-fil-A there all the time. And for anybody, it's difficult to cross over that Wisconsin because it's a long stretch trying to cross over that crosswalk anyway.
Yes.
So I'm very appreciative of the work that he's been able to do. And if there's more work to do, then we definitely will.
All right, thank you. Thanks.
Yes, sir.
Also, this is Charlie. Thanks to Mr. Moore, who starred in a video for DDOT explaining to the public what's going on with how the accessible pedestrian signals work and their safety benefits.
Yeah,
So
thanks, Charlie. Yeah, good seeing you.
Buddy,
Yes.
when I did have the opportunity to speak to Director Lott, and Heather, maybe you can listen in too, I did mention to them, I had heard the problem about at the Ward 7 Senior Center in their driveway and with vehicles using their driveway to cut through at that corner. And the question that Director Lott had was the address of that senior center, which I didn't know. I just heard about it.
Which one? At the 31 Alabama Avenue?
That's correct. This is Charlie. That's
Alabama. And I'll point out that the sign that was put up through the 311 process is not going to be very effective because it's not, we need another sign that's visible to people who are driving up 30th Street towards Alabama. I went there a few days ago to drop off something for the program director, and I arrived about 6 minutes after 5, so it was closed. And so I sat in the parking lot, and 6 cars cut through from both directions. And as the program director has said, it's a tragedy waiting to happen. So those signs that say no through traffic need to be expanded and tilted in the right direction so that they're visible for the cars coming up the street, up the hill.
I'm sorry, can someone please repeat the location again? I heard Alabama Avenue, but I didn't hear the street number.
30th Street and Alabama, right near the Safeway.
Sounded like Charlie was familiar with that. Is that
Heather and I were on a recent meeting with the folks on that from that center, along with Sierra Bodrick, who's our community engagement specialist for Ward 7. Miss Bodrick and the woman who directs the senior center, Miss Davis, Shyami Davis, are in communication about that particular issue, and we know it's a difficult one. So I know Sierra is working closely with Miss Davis on that one.
I think the bigger danger is the speeding coming up 30th Street, which apparently a new traffic safety assessment has to be submitted. I think we're going to submit 2 of them because cars just speed up, and even though there's a senior wellness center there, the speed limit is 25 and it's supposed to be 20 around senior centers and schools. It's difficult. I don't know what the category of that road is. 30th Street. It's a thoroughfare, but people are speeding up it. So that's almost more serious than the cut through at the center. But Director Lott, you have staff who are following it.
Got it. Well, thanks for bringing that to my attention, this case, and this additional information, having the address is helpful. So thank you all very much.
Oh, great. Phil, did you have any comments or that you'd like to share with the director or questions?
No, I do not. I just like what I heard. And thank you very much, Mr. Director.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Okay, then that's the council members. How about anyone else? Do they have, Heather, would you have anything that you would like to share or ask? One of the things, here I am jumping in as I say that, that you mentioned was locking the scooters. And Heather and I we started a disability senior community meeting, and we have collected pictures just since October 1st of places that scooters are locked, like including bus stops and different places where they continue to obstruct even though they are locked. And I am wondering, where is the best, what's the enforcement? Who can we contact? I did say, understand what you said about the responsibilities of the scooter companies, but many times, many of us in the community come across these situations and see them. And what, if anything, would you suggest that we do about it? And is there someone I sees, or maybe the best person to share those pictures with, or maybe it's somebody else?
Yeah, I'm going to ask one of the team members, and Sharada might be the best person on the call to kind of talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm happy to talk about it. So the scooter companies are reviewing the photos, the end of ride trips. And I have some hot off the presses data that I brought to share with you about this.
Okay.
I don't have screen share. I don't know who the host is, so if you could enable that and let me know, that'd be great.
Just give me 1 second. I'll let you know when it's ready in the chat.
Great. So when it comes to reporting the mislocked scooters, they are actually being reviewed. Industry best practice is 10% of end of ride photos are reviewed. For the month of October, all of the dockless scooter companies are reviewing 100% of the photos, which is very unusual and a lot of labor, but I think it's essential to the educational practices to give people immediate feedback on the performance that they're doing. So I'm going to share. Yes, success. So I just put this together at like 5:15, just got the data. You can see the percentage of successful trips end from October 1, where it was 30%.
1 second, Sharada. I just want to remind you that there are people with disabilities. So anything that you're showing visually, not everybody is actually seeing. So
I will talk through it.
Okay, great.
So this is a PowerPoint slide. It shows a line graph with the date range from October 1st through October 7th. Starting on October 1st, 30% of trip ends were rated as successful by the operators. And by October 7th, so 7 days later, we were up to 57%. So the training for the individuals seems like it's working. And they're getting better. People are getting better at ending their trips, which is something that I'm really excited about. So for you to report, I'm going to stop the share. So for you to report vehicles, you can email dockless.mobility@dc.gov. We're still working on 311. We hope to have that up soon. And you can also, the most direct way to reach the companies, the phone number and email address is located on the scooter, on every scooter, in font size, as we've discussed and created in consultation with the MAAC. And then there's also a unique ID on the vehicle that you'll need to have in order to communicate successfully with the company. And that is also larger font, and it should be located on the stem or the gooseneck, the slanted part of the scooter, so that you can locate it easily.
That's very appreciated. Thank you. I think it is a good step, and I'm glad to hear how the 100% at this point to really increase that learning curve for both riders and the companies is going to be really helpful. And so I interrupted you, Heather. Did you want to make any comments or ask any questions or share anything?
Well, Director Lott's going to look and see if he his schedule will accommodate a PAAC meeting on the fourth Monday of November, which we spoke about, the co-chair and I with him about very briefly. So I think it makes most sense to leave the time tonight to MAAC members.
And Heather, I see that you had a question in the chat. Do you want to go ahead and ask?
It was a question for Sharda, whether in the line graph that you showed, Sharda, does that mean the scooter was locked or that it was locked safely and not blocking the sidewalk? I've seen a lot of improvement in how the scooters are positioned in the mornings when the company comes out. They're much, much closer to the edge of the curb and so forth. I do have my own set of pictures for locking up they're locked, but they're tripping hazards. And then I'm looking forward to the expansion of the bike lockups. I went to the post office in Adams Morgan, and for the fourth time, the scooters have taken up all the bicycle lockup bars in front of the Adams Morgan post office. So those of us who have been out of cars and using bikes for years are now finding that we don't have places to lock our bike when we go to the post office. But hopefully that over time can be worked through with communication through Sharda.
Yes. So just to answer your question, the success means that the vehicle was parked in an acceptable location, which includes a bike rack, signpost, or an in-street corral, but excludes a bus stop, just to be clear, because that is also a signpost, but not an acceptable signpost. We are working on expanding the number of the bike parking locations. The companies, when they deploy, just to make it clear that the companies, when they deploy, if they deploy 3 vehicles or less, they do not have to be locked up. So that should hopefully push it away from some of the bike racks within high demand areas, so that, Heather, you can park your bike at the post office. So just like, so those are trip ends by individuals. So they're going places. Maybe they had to go to the post office.
All right, thank you. I know we took quite a bit more of your time, Director Lott, but I appreciate it. And you're willing to listen and talk to us. And we look forward to ongoingly continuing this discussion, whether directly with you or through these wonderful people. My experience as the MAAC chair with Caesar and Nana has been fantastic. They have really supported us in kind of finding our voice and being sure we're included in all the discussions that are happening. And we are big fans of both of them, looking forward to becoming a fan of Zachary Smith's. And again, just thank you for your time.
Well, again, I want to thank y'all for y'all's time as well. And, you know, Heather, Heidi, y'all both have my contact information. You have my phone number. Feel free to reach out and call and contact me anytime. If you need something, please reach out. I'll make myself available at any point, anytime. Nana and Cesar, they're fantastic, and I'm glad to have them on the team, and I'm glad that you all have spoke so highly of them as well. So thank you very much.
Okay. We will move on in our schedule. Sharda, did you have more to share, or you we just embedded that into our discussion with Director Dodd, which worked out fine.
Yeah, that was it. Unless you have more questions, I'm happy to answer more questions. I know I expect lots of questions, but that was essentially it. So
I think Mr. Sclover does.
Yes, I do have a question. On the bike locking issue, how is that going to be enforced?
So the bikes have had lock to since I believe 2018 or 2019. They're also included in this new scooter bill, in the new EMD bill. Right now, we're focusing on the scooters. I specifically am focusing on the scooters and working with the scooter company.
Excuse me.
Okay.
I goofed. How is the scooter lock requirement going to be enforced? I apologize. I use bikes instead of scooters. It's a scooter situation.
Yeah, so the legislation requires that the companies make a failure to use the lock to subject to a penalty. The companies are setting their own penalties, which range from $5 to $50. It just depends on the company, but they all are required to have a penalty. And since they're reviewing the photos, they are going to be enacting those penalties.
Thank you.
Is there anything else? Anyone else have anything specifically that they wanted to ask Sharda about the scooter locking? There is one other person who has joined us, and just in case, this is Jim Elliott, the co-chair of the Pedestrian Advisory Council with Heather. Jim, you want to quickly introduce yourself? We all did that a little earlier before you joined.
Yes, so I'm Jim Elliott, PAC co-chair with Heather, and I had intended to come to this meeting, and I just I've been intending to come for quite some time, and I'm sorry I'm late, but it's good to be here.
Did you have a comment or a question for Sharda, or
no, not at this point.
not in particular? Okay.
The PAC is getting me next week, so I'm sure they'll have plenty of questions then.
One of the, are you someone to share? I understand that there are going to be a whole bunch more scooter corrals. Do you have responsibility for that and choices about where some of these are, or is that someone else there at DDOT?
Yeah, my colleague Greg Metleski works on scooter corrals. I can find the email address if you're interested in specific locations. There are restrictions on where they do go. And I know that we are focused on rolling more out. So as long as it's good weather to drill into the pavement, I think we're still going.
Got you.
Yeah.
Our next, Phil, go right ahead.
Yeah, one further question. Is it a fair assumption that the reason for requiring that scooters be locked is to get scooter drivers from simply leaving their scooters randomly on sidewalks, right in the center of the sidewalks? Is that a correct assumption?
The scooter lock to requirement was council regulated, so I can't make an assumption as to what their motives were or what drove that. I think we are doing a good job at requiring that the lock twos be in specific locations.
Okay,
and are being reviewed.
okay. Then do you believe that the effect of the locking requirement will be to get scooters away from the center of sidewalks and so that they will be affixed to poles or whatever close to the curb?
I believe that the intention of the requirement is to ensure that they're locked to infrastructure.
Or the effect is to get scooters from being simply randomly left in exposed places on the sidewalks, presenting danger to pedestrians, and specifically those with visual impairments like myself.
I believe that the companies are proofing the photos to ensure that they're parked in the appropriate spot. I'm not clear what the question is.
If I could jump in, Phil, we have been complaining. It is a big issue for people with disabilities, mobility disabilities and visual disabilities, all the places that scooters have been dropped, left on a curb cut in the middle of the sidewalk, etc., blocking pathways for people with disabilities in particular, or seniors with different mobility devices. So our voices expressing concern and asking the council, please do something to make this safer. I don't, and in particular with Council Member Shea, who I know was crucial and essential in getting this legislation through. That's where it's coming from, feeling like it was through our advocacy, an attempt to support that micro mobility option while continuing to create the pathways that pedestrians and people with disabilities use, safe access. If that's making sense to you. Was that helpful, Phil, or not?
Yes, you said it much better than I did. Thank you.
And so we 100% support that.
Thank you, Heidi.
That is our goal too. And we appreciate this attempt to improve that situation. Anybody else have thoughts or questions for Sharda? We're glad you came. We look forward to talking to you in the future as this goes forward, and we see the results of this legislation and how it ongoingly is enforced, and our hope that that increases the equity and accessibility for everybody.
Thank you, Heidi. I appreciate the time talking to the MAAC, and I'm happy to come back whenever you'd like.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, so our next agenda item was the Georgetown sidewalk extension. I know that you all enjoyed a report from Buddy and Phil, who actually took a field trip to go out there and really scoped it out and shared their report of what they observed. Oh, Rob has a question. I'm sorry, Rob.
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, that's okay. I wanted to let you know, I'm sorry, I have another meeting at 6:30, so I have to go. But I'll see you next month. Take care, and thank you.
Thanks for coming. Thanks for being here, Rob. I wanted there was discussion about whether, so there was, the information was shared and enjoyed. And I was, wanted to open it up again to see whether there would be any motions for recommendations. Yes, Phil, please.
Yes, I would like to make a motion. I move that the MAAC recommend that scooters and bicycles be prohibited from riding on the sidewalks in the Georgetown Commercial Business District.
Okay. Do I hear a second for that motion? I think we're getting unmuted. There we
Yes,
go.
yes, Madam Chair, I second the motion.
All right. So the motion is made and seconded. It's an opportunity for discussion. Sorry, Rob had to leave. Phil, please go ahead.
Okay, I would like to speak in favor of my motion. This grew out of Buddy and I's informal, I guess, field trip to the Georgetown development area. Excuse me if that's not the term. Basically, we were overall impressed with what we saw. It should enrich the neighborhood. As one of our observations is that one effect of what is being done will be to place many tables in these sidewalk expansion areas. It will increase pedestrian traffic on sidewalks which are among the narrowest in the city between the building line and the street line. And we believe that it would be appropriate to limit and prohibit the use of scooters and bicycles from that area in the same manner as they are prohibited in many areas in the downtown business districts.
Okay. Does anyone else have thoughts or comments that they would like to add?
Yes, Madam Chair, Buddy Moore, am I muted again?
No, you're perfect.
No, okay. Yeah, let me sort of echo Phil's sentiment as one who has both, that is myself, both a visual and a hearing deficit. I am practically scared to death when I all of a sudden hear the sound of a scooter and I'm not sure from which angle it's coming. I'm not a Georgetown visitor in terms of going out to eateries, but I'm not sure how narrow sidewalks such as the ones that exist in Georgetown can accommodate pedestrians, scooters, bicycles, probably power chairs for those persons who have mobility issues, and other things. To me, it's just an impossibility for those narrow sidewalks to accommodate all of those actions. So,
okay. I have a question. And again, I did understand that those are part of the reason for the extensions had to do with the fact that they were the narrowest and in any ways to start out with. But my question is, do you see that as different from other places where the eateries are not sidewalk extensions exactly, but they extend into the street? how do you differentiate? And the reason I ask that is I support and understand your reason for recommending that. I'm just wondering if the reason in this area in particular primarily goes to the fact that the sidewalks are so narrow. And
Phil, if I may respond,
please.
Georgetown specifically is highly congested to start with. At least on Wisconsin Avenue, there are these build outs, many in front of restaurants where there will be tables, which necessitates servers to come out from the restaurants, cross the public sidewalk areas to serve their food. This is another obstruction, which is fine. But as Buddy pointed out, that in conjunction with scooters and bicycles, I think it's a bit too much. And I think it would be very appropriate in that high congested area. And I would urge DDOT to look at other high density areas, such as maybe 18th and Columbia Road, 14th and U, and see if scooters should also, and bicycles should also be restricted there as well. But my motion is focused on Georgetown, which did have this rather creative and inventive project. And as an outgrowth of that, Buddy and I saw this particular need, therefore we made this motion.
All right, thank you. Am I hearing any other discussion on this matter? If not, I will call a vote. All those in favor of this recommendation, would you signify by saying aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Not hearing it, any. The motion has passed. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Phil
Thanks.
and Buddy for your work on this.
Thank you.
And we can most certainly now post this on our website along with your report.
Okay.
I would recommend we send this to Councilmember Shea and people at Director Lott, possibly also at DDOT. And I certainly am open to anybody else's thoughts about how we should share this recommendation. We could also tweet it. Anybody else have thoughts about now that we have that recommendation, ways we should proceed? Perhaps we'll discuss that more, give people time to think about it. Was that somebody? Okay, then we can talk about that next week. That is the end of our agenda other than public comment. I think people have had, but is there anyone else who is still present that is interested in making a comment about any of the topics that we have discussed tonight or asking a question? All right, hearing none, then I think, Caesar, did you want to say something? It looks like you unmuted for.
Hi, Chair Case, if I may, quick. I would like to see if Susie can share a little more knowledge on the ODR event for the annual Disability Expo, Mayor's Disability Expo that is happening this year in person. Susie, if she can share more details. I'm not familiar with all the details. I'm not trying to.
No, that's great. I'm glad you brought it up. Susie, are you available to share anything about the Mayor's Disability Expo? Even dates or would be great. Or month? She may have had to step away. Do you know what month it's in or anything about when that is? Oh,
It's
look,
it's October the 27th.
Oh, wow, it's this month.
Right. From 10, I believe, until 1. I will send you the invite. I'm surprised you haven't gotten it.
I haven't seen it, so that would be great. And then Shayna, if we get it, would you be willing to, I will share it with you and we can share it both on our website and with our mailing list?
Of course, no problem.
Yeah. I'll send it out. I'll send it out after the meeting.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Susie.
You're welcome.
Do you know, have they decided, is it going to be at UDC?
No, it's going to be at the new MLK remodeled library on 9th Street, Northwest.
Oh, how wonderful.
Yes.
All right. That sounds great. I look forward to it. Thanks for bringing that up, Caesar. Important event. All right, everybody. Thank you for your patience and your attendance. And unless anybody have anything else? I'm Phil.
Yes, just one point. When the Georgetown Development District seeks approval from its temporary expansion to a permanent one, and I believe that's going to happen before the end of the calendar year. Will the MAAC be notified in advance so we can comment on the issue?
Phil, one thing, well, let me ask if I'm correct. Caesar, is that approval similar to all the eateries having to get approval who want to go permanent, or is that a separate process? Do you know?
My understanding is that sidewalk extensions go through a different process.
Okay.
The sidewalk extension wants to turn into a streetery, that will be a separate permit from the restaurant owner and to modifying that space for a streetery. The sidewalk extension, I believe that Georgetown Mid is about to, I think they submitted or about to submit their new sidewalk extension request. And for Public Space Committee, I'm not sure if it goes through the MAAC, but I'm aware they're probably going to put that through the committee.
You kind of cut out. They're going to put it through the, and then I didn't hear you.
I'm sorry. They'll put it through DCRA Transportation Online Permitting Program system. Sorry, not program, but system. What we call TOPS. Will request an occupancy and basically the agency, DDOT, and several other agencies, environmental, utility companies will review that for evaluation and assessment. If I see something prior to next month, I will let you aware and inform, and hopefully give you good feedback on what they have requested. But in answer to Phil's question, I am not sure how to answer if they will go through them or through the MAAC or not.
Hi, folks. I put something in the chat. This is Charlie from DDAT. There's the bid is sort of going through a different sort of its own sort of independent evaluation of it by interviewing their businesses, I guess, and maybe other community partners. But anyway, I guess the MAAC could potentially just reach out to the Georgetown bid about it if they wanted to provide feedback.
I appreciate that, Charlie, and will you make sure you copy that, Shayna, for us? And certainly, Phil, we can reach out to them with our recommendation. And, you know, if they want to come and talk to us about that further, or, you know, just let's reach out to them and say, this is our recommendation. Where can we go from here?
Okay, fine.
Okay. All right. Finally, I've said it 6 times. Please go and enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you all for coming and for your time.
Thank you all. Thanks. Great
Bye-bye.
job.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Chairperson Case.